How has the COVID drop in March affected the algo? It didn't affect the algo much. Where was this? I don't remember the trade setups back in March what it was showing, but I don't remember anyone blowing accounts or losing a lot of money. So, um, you know, maybe in the black swan event, so maybe that's where some stop losses were hit, but overall it was pretty good because so the trades supply and demand levels and stuff like that, right? So um, you would be able to catch some trades with that, and if you follow the proper risk management rules, then you should be good to go. I mean, stuff like that happens, but overall it wasn't. The drop in March wasn't too bad. Since we're trading forex mostly, um, those things don't concern us too much. Okay, next question. Ambry, what do you think about USD/GPY on the daily? I see a lot of wicks at the NR level, where there's a lot of selling pressure and expected to go down. Okay, let's quickly look at the trade. I don't want to go over too many pairs, so if you're new, um, I don't like to go over too many trades just because the algo is already telling you what to do. So I can give you some reassurance, but um, I really would just want to go down into the nitty gritty, help you guys become more profitable, or if you have any questions that are kind of keeping you back from becoming profitable, I can help with that too. So use the GPY on the daily. Let's have a look. Um, so I'm assuming you're trading X mode then if there's something here. So let's have a look. Okay. Yeah, so you can see some rejection here, but and it is staying below our resistance here, but you can see this level already turned into neutral, so um, we might see a break of this and then go up a little more. Let me kind of show you what I mean. So we might see a break and then go here just because um, yeah, the resistance is slowly getting weaker. So we might see a push up, but I mean overall, I think. Let me see what this thing says. I think overall we're still bullish or bearish. Let's see. Bearish downtrend. Yeah. So overall we're still bearish, but I mean we could see these wicks get filled and complete this range over here. So we might fill this range and then come back down. If it breaks this, I mean then obviously we're gonna go here. But what I would look for in this case is look at how the daily is closing. So right now it's trying to go above. So if price is closing above your neutral level, then and it's trading there for a couple more days or hours um, in this week, then we're gonna go up either to this resistance or this resistance. Okay, AUD CHF. Let's quickly look at that too on a daily. Okay. I mean, it's not consolidating above it. We can see it broke above it, um, but it always closed. Usually, or most the last day the candle closed in the short. So if we see a daily candle going closing above this high here, above this, then we're probably going to go up a little higher. Then we might go around here and then come back down. But if you're already in this trade, what you do is you let it hit TP1 or stop loss. Um, that's how you should trade. So don't close this if you're in it. Let it hit stop loss or TP, especially when you don't have that much experience. But we could quickly look at the 4 hours, see where we have some levels. Yeah, so price could turn around when it hits extension 2, but yeah, it's not a best setup. Like I wouldn't take this just because on the 4 hour would take it. The daily looks fine. Daily still looks fine. I would take the daily. If you're not in this trade, don't take it obviously because price is trading above the box. So best case scenario, you want to wait for price to come back down. Once it's down here, yeah, then you can set up your limits and then take that sell. Okay, let's keep going and we go through these questions. How do I get the algo? TradeView isn't showing it for me. So if you don't have the algo yet, then and you haven't received access, then you have to message Tricia. She can give you access to it, and then you should receive an email with the instructions. So if you don't have the trial yet, you can get that through the 7-day trial. If you've already done that, you're gonna have to buy the algo to get access. But in order to check if you have it, go to indicators on TradingView, and then under invite only scripts, it should be in here. Matt is asking if you identify a good hedge pair, but one or both are also classed as repeating trades, what should you do? If it's going to be hedged, does that de-risk cancel the repeating aspect? Or is it always the case, stick to simple criteria if it's repeating or if it's creating exposure, don't take the trade period. Yeah, so, we want to keep things simple. So, a trade is a trade. So it doesn't matter if it's a hedge or if it's a regular trade. If it's a hedge and it's a repeated trade, the hedge is going to fail. If it's a normal trade and it's a repeated trade, it's going to fail either way. So in that case, the hedge will be invalid, right? So um, unless it's a repeated trade, but it still holds, then it's fine. But the rule is, if it's repeated too often, then just ignore it. Just wait for something else, or look for something else. You don't have to take every setup, right? So and trading is a game of patience. So if you see a hedge that you want to take, but it's repeated too often, just ignore and skip. How is the algo doing in stocks, futures? Are you trading stocks, futures with the algo? I'm personally not trading stocks, futures. I'm primarily just doing Forex. But I mean, we have a ton of people in the group who trade Forex successfully. And Anton, one of the co-founders, he's also just trading purely stocks. So the algo is working really well with stocks, just like it is with Forex. I would say with stocks, from what I've seen so far, is you do need a little more research on the companies. Make sure you have some fundamental um, kind of driven idea behind the trade, and then you should do really well with the algo in stocks. Okay, next question. If you place multiple orders with hedge pairs in them so that your total pending orders don't have to any overexposure, but after 2 days the algo changes some pending orders to no trade zones while other orders got placed, resulting in overexposure, what should you do? How should you guard against this happening? So the simple rule is if the algo changes and there's no trade, then there's no trade. So at that point you should remove the pending order. Um, so to try to keep your orders up to date, you don't always need a hedge. So if you can't find a hedge, or I mean, um, yeah, you don't need a hedge for every trade, right? Hedging is something you don't need to do. For example, for me, like I barely hedge any trades. I just try to keep it simple. So I have you know 2 to 3 trades or 1 to 3 trades, and then I let those play out. I make sure those 3 trades are not correlated, and then I'm good to go. I don't have to open 5 trades or pick out a trade for every pair in my watch list, because a lot of times they move very similar too. Like if you look at NZD, JPY, and Euro JPY, they move similar. If you look at even something non-correlated, for example, would be an example. Yeah, I don't know, like USD CAD and NZD JPY. Even though it's not the same currencies, there might be some correlation there, just because the way money flows. So you don't need a lot of pairs to trade. You just pick up the best ones and then trade those, and you don't have to hedge every trade either. Um, from it sounds like you want to hedge every trade, but you don't have to. And if the algo changes, so should your pending orders change. I'm a US resident, owner has 50 to 1 leverage. Is this going to severely limit my ability to take advantage of the system? Like, do I need 500 to 1 leverage? Sort of minus option. No, we have a lot of people trading 50 to 1. It's totally fine. You just won't be able to open that many positions. Wanda also has FIFO rule, so you won't be able to open more than one position per pair, which is also fine. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just focus on your entries. Make sure that you're doing well, and then if you do that, you should make money. So the broker, that's not going to be the big issue. The way you go about finding trades, executing trades, that's more important. What does PAS mean? PAS is basically just a price action. What was the last word for it? Not sure, but basically it's a price action system or something to analyze the market. So if I turn this on, let me see if there's something there. Because a lot of times it'll tell you, this is a bearish engulfing, or market is moving up, stuff like that. But it's in beta, so it's not, I wouldn't base my here. So this one, buyers detected, watch for upside because it had a bullish engulfing. So it kind of shows you a few insights into candles and price action. But it's in beta, so I don't really use this. I do use this panel here, the PAS over here, but I don't really use this. It just makes the chart a little too cluttered. But this is helpful sometimes, just to seeing if where price is trending in the short term. Right now, market is neutral, so that means it's kind of consolidating, so we can see prices bouncing in this range. So eventually it'll break up upside or to the downside. Barry is asking, I know what the N's, R's, and S's mean. What do the dots on the left mean on X mode? Good question. So let me turn this off. So X mode is basically split into a few columns. So we have this one, which is the column of the highest confluence, and as you go down, the confluence decreases. Basically, these dots on the left, you don't have to worry about those. I'm guessing you're talking about these, right? So you don't have to worry about these because these are just to help you see the levels. If these dots wouldn't exist, it would be harder to read the levels. So it's more there for the user experience. So you don't really have to worry about those. They don't mean anything in particular. Ramadeep is asking what would be the entry point in USD JPY. Have a look. So there's no entry on USD JPY. So you wouldn't be looking for an entry. There's nothing here right now, unless you're trading X mode. Then you could be looking at the 4-hour for an entry, if there's one. Okay, so the algo has one on 4 hours. So if you are trading the 4 hour, which most of you probably shouldn't be, then you wouldn't take a trade right now because it's already in the zone. And the way you would trade this is you would wait for price to move away from this box. And once price is trading below your short entry, then you can place your limits. And when price goes back up to retest this level, then you trigger your sell limit will be triggered, and then you can take it to TP1. So right now, well, like this, you shouldn't take this. Wait for price to move out of your entry box, so it should be trading below this box. Then place your sell limit here on the first on the bottom of the box, and when price moves back up, it'll hit your limit and then come back down to TP1. And the same strategy would apply for daily. So, you know, if for example there would be a box here, a sell order box, don't enter manually. Wait for price to move below your box and then set your limits. When you say trade, does that mean 3 positions? So when I say trade, it could be anything. Could be 1 position, could be 2, could be 3. You know, can't really say because everyone has a different account size. So if you're trading a small account, it's only going to be 1 position, right? So if you're trading a medium size, a bigger account, it could be 2 to 3 positions. But in most cases, you're not going to go over 3 positions. I primarily trade with 2 positions, sometimes 3. So it all depends how you want to do it. The recommended for the recommended size of positions per trade is 3, according to the strategy, because then you can place 3 limits on every trade, and that's going to give you the best entry and the best exits. Brian is asking what time of day is best to set up the trades. What is the best amount of money to start with? So the best, if you're swing trading, it doesn't really matter if you set them up in the morning, in the evening, or during the day. I wouldn't set them up over. I mean, you can't set them up over the weekend because it's closed. But I wouldn't set them up on Friday. That's probably the only day I wouldn't set them up on Friday afternoon when the market is still open, because over the weekend price can change and the gaps can happen, and that's going to affect the algo. So you're not going to be placing trades on the latest data. So if you wait till Sunday morning, then I would start to place some trades, because then the algo is going to have the latest data to look at the market, and then you can place the trades throughout the week. If you're swing trading, it doesn't really matter. If you're intraday trading or scalping, which I think most of you are not, so then you want to look at the most volume times. So either New York session, London session, those are the two best ones. Asian is okay, but I prefer to stick to New York and London. Remedy was asking, how do you plan your entries and exports? So there's a variety of strategies you can use for that. That comes down to so many things. First of all, what kind of setup you're looking at? What's your preferred entry style? Are we swing trading? Are we scalping? Are we looking? Do we want to sit in front of the charts? Do we just want to have it run on autopilot? So it kind of depends on your style. I can't answer that right out of the gate. So I think what's more important is trying to entering correctly. So not too early, not too late, not buying when you should be selling, stuff like that. In terms of, sorry, Brian, I forgot the other question. Best amount of money to start with? I mean, the more the better, right? So, but I always tell people, don't invest something you can't afford to lose. So I'm not going to tell you the best amount, because that's going to be different for every person. The more the better. If you can't afford something right now, start off with what you can, and then slowly add to your account, and then just compound it. But most people tend to start off with $1,000. I mean, if you're gonna be trading, if you want to trade full time, it needs to be above 10,000 easy. But I would say never invest something or trade something you can't afford to lose. What's your thoughts on the extension X mode trade on AUD JPY 4 hour? Let's look. And Barry, regarding your other question about the entering X mode trade um, or a strategy mode and then using X mode to see if it's something you should enter. Um, you like that was an example that I showed because price was in the box. So if you're already in the trade, you don't have to look at X mode. You just hit it and let it hit take profit or stop loss. Um, if the strategy mode shows you a trade, it's based on the X mode levels, so you wouldn't have to look at the X mode levels. Just trust the algo and trade with the algo. You don't have to look at X mode. You can turn on X mode while you trade strategy mode to understand how all these levels interact with each other. But I wouldn't like if you're in an algo trade, just let it run. Don't try to don't try to combine both into one. Okay, back to the extension trade. So let me look at the 1 hour for this first. So technically we broke, so we can see we broke this level. You can see we broke it and we came back to retest it. So if we get a strong daily close, we might be able to take it up here. If we see a good rejection on this extension, so I guess we almost hit extension one, so it could have been this. In some cases, levels are never one exact price point. Sometimes it's going to be a zone. So it kind of hit it. It might hit it again, a little higher, just to hit this level. But personally, I wouldn't be trading this because it looks bullish to me. So I prefer to wait for price to go up here to extension two, or if I see a nice engulfing from this area, that's a horrible candle. But if I see a nice engulfing candle away from the zone, then I would take it. Ideally, what you want to wait for short on this on X mode is you want price to move back below this level here. So you want price to break this and then take the retest like that. That would be the best case scenario. I don't like this extension too much, just because it already hit it so many times over here. So it's not the greatest setup. If you get a fresh level, like if this would be, if extension one would be like up here, that would be a good trade because it's a fresh level. But because with this extension one, we've already had quite a bit of price interacting with the level here. It's not going to be you're not going to get that 73% that we're looking for on this trade in terms of probability. When hedging, does that mean that one trade is going to lose? Not necessarily. Hedging basically means you're trying to offset your risk, right? So, um, the basically if your risk reward is 1 to 2, one is going to be a loser, and then the other one is going to basically get you that profit. But in some cases you could even have both be a winner. That works too. If it's a really good setup, I've had that too, where I had a hedge trade, and they both played out in profit, because even sometimes you can trade multiple time frames, one pair. For example, you can You can be buying on the 4-hour on AUD GPY. You can be selling on the daily on AUD GPY, and they're still both valid. That's why when people tell you I'm selling and you're going into a buy, don't change your analysis just because someone is doing the opposite of you, because there's so many different variables that come into that, because it all depends where you enter, where you exit, how long you're holding your trade. So if you really want to go into depth like that, you could be buying and selling the same pair or multiple pairs and still come out in profit. I'm using SimpleFX as broker since it's one of the recommended ones in BFTs. There's some negative reviews out there, but I'm hoping it's all BS. I'm just a little worried that I'm sending my account funds to them. I'm a Canada, so I can't use IC markets. How is SimpleFX treated you or someone you know? Um, when you look at broker reviews, you'll see that pretty much all brokers have bad reviews, just because the nature of Forex, when when people trade Forex, they always think the market is going against them, but in reality, they just don't know how to trade. So, um, in most cases, it's the trader's fault. Oh, I got a stop hunt. You took my money. You're playing against me. But in most cases, it's just the traders who screw up. I haven't had any issues with SimpleFX, and I know they've been around for quite some time. Um, but I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone has had issues from Breakfree Trading in general with them, so I wouldn't be too worried with them. Patrick is asking, is it a good idea to play with the stop loss level if we see that the trend will probably go wrong? I wouldn't touch the stop loss, because it's actually the way the stop loss is designed. It's put above a high reversal area. So let's say you're in a drawdown on a trade. What we've seen, and a lot of people can confirm this, is price went up and barely touched the stop loss, and then came back down to TP1 or to the entry to take profit at break even. So the rule is, if you're in a trade, let it hit stop loss or let it hit TP, nothing else. Because then what happens is, if you're getting into a habit of closing trades prematurely, then you're going to be missing out on profits. And to be frank, if that's a habit you're forming, you're closing trades in drawdown before it hits your stop loss, you're going to form a habit where you're going to be closing too many losing trades. You're not going to give them the breathing room they need to play out. I can tell you, like, most of the time, a trade is going to go into drawdown. Like a drawdown, you can't avoid it in trading. And if you try to avoid drawdown, you're going to have a losing account, basically. So just stick to the stop loss that's given to you. It is there for a reason. We don't put it here for a reason, because when a trade goes in drawdown, it'll hit your stop loss and will come back down to TP1. So the stop loss is here for a reason, and you guys should all follow the stop loss that is given to you. If you look at your stop loss and you say, man, I'm risking too much on this trade, go into your settings, decrease your risk. You can do a risk override, and then trade a few trades like that with lower risk, so you can gain some trust in the algorithm, and then see how it works. And then once you've gained some more trust in the algo, then you can remove your override, and you can go back to the regular 2 to 3.5% per trade. Do you ever use ours as support if it's broken and retested by X mode hasn't recalculated? Um, yeah, in some cases I'll do that. It kind of depends on the level, how strong it is. So if it's a 4-hour level, a lot of times that's okay if it breaks and retests. Sometimes, like if you go into like the 50-minute, yeah, those are going to be a little harder to trade. But in most cases, I try to stick to the levels that the X mode is giving to me. So, this one, these guys are all already turned neutral, so I wouldn't be taking a buy off here because it's not a support zone. So this one could be broken pretty easily if we go into a different trade, different pair. So this one is still neutral zone as the high confluence area, but the lower ones they're support right now. So we might see this one turn into a support as well. So this is actually a decent zone right now. But yeah, if this guy breaks, we're gonna go all the way down here. That'll be a good trade. But yeah, to keep it short, I usually try to stick to the levels the algo gives me. So I'm definitely having more success with waiting for price to move away from the box and getting entries on the retest. However, I keep on getting only 1 or 2 entries filled instead of a full size 3 entries. I love the quick profit with retest going straight to TPs, but I'm missing out on the potential profit with full size. Not sure what I should do here. What would you recommend? So in most cases, price is going to be trading below your entry, right? So there's going to be cases like this where it's not an ideal trade, and you don't have to take these, right? And we can see price. We already made money on this twice on this trade. This was the first trade. This was the second trade, and then you can see the third one failed. So this one is a little higher. I don't know if this was recalculated, maybe it was a little lower or not, but just keep following the strategy. I know sometimes not all positions get hit, but that's just the way it is. Not much I can say here, but in some cases, which was it? Was it NZD USD on the daily? Let me check. There was a one where price was it this one? Yeah. So this is the kind of trades you want to look for, right? So we were playing for a while. We were playing this range, I believe. We can see it touched it a couple times, but now we have a new trade on the daily on that's a little higher, right? So this is basically a fresh level that we can trade. So there's a high probability that all 3 entries are going to get triggered on this one, just because it's a fresh level. And even sometimes you can, I think I discussed it on the last week too, but if this would still be our sell level, we can see, actually let me, I think it was on AUD USD, trying to find the, I'm not quite sure what it was, but if you watch last week's, right here it is, Euro USD. Yeah, this is a good example. This is what I wanted to show you. So this is our short, right? Our short zone. You can see on the first one, it only hit like 1 entry, right? On this one. So your first 2 would still be open. Sorry, as pending orders. So price went down, hit TP2, came back up, and you can see now it opened all 3, right? And went back down again. It pretty much almost hit TP2, but it did hit TP1. So now we can see it hit all 3 again, and now it's back at TP1. So guys, it's just a matter of waiting for price to come back and hit it. You're not gonna hit it all the time, but most of the time you're gonna hit all 3 positions. So I would. There's not much I can say there. You just set it up, follow the strategy, and then over time you're gonna be making gains. So if only one position gets triggered, I mean that's fine too. As long as you're making money, you're making profit, that's all that matters. The other example I showed where price was trading in the box, if you see something like this is where you want to wait for price to come back down, and then you set your limits. But for stuff like this, you can just place your limits, price will come, hit all 3 entries, and then come back down. So, I just wanted to make clear that if you see price in the box, don't take a short just because it says short entry. This trade is only valid if price moves back below the short box, short entry box. When TP1 hits and you move your stop loss to break even, what do you do if your last entry hasn't filled? Meaning if you change the stop loss, it'll be the same price as your pending entry and your entry won't get filled, correct? Yeah, so Matt, if TP1 gets hit, you close your position and that's it. And if so your two entries got filled and the last one didn't. So you would close both entries, both positions on TP1. And then let me see if I can find an example to make this easier for you. Maybe on USD since it just entered. Okay, so let's say these are your three orders. Let's say this one, the last one didn't get triggered. You placed it wrong, was up there for some reason. Just to show you an example. So these two got opened. You would, once TP1 hits, you would close them both, right? And you would still have this one. So you would keep this one, and you could even place two more. You can place the other ones again. So then we hope the price will come back down, trigger them again, and then go back to TP1. In this case, I wouldn't do it just because we had this one, second one, third one. This was the third time hitting it. So if you didn't make money on these first two, you really shouldn't be taking it the fourth time. But if not all your orders got executed and you still have one or two pending, follow the strategy, which is close the trades to first two positions at TP1, and then you can leave the other pending there as long as the trade is still active on the Algo. So then you would just repeat the process basically. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that made sense, Himo. Oh, sorry. Let me know if that made sense, Matt. Yes, move to stop loss to break even. But if you only have two positions open, you should take all your profit at TP1 because the last position you leave that for TP2 break even. But if you only have two positions open from three, then you close all two positions at TP1. Kind of. I mean, what exactly do you need more clarity on? Because I want to turn that kinda into a yes, if I can. So if you don't move stop loss and hit stop loss, won't you lose your TP1 gains? If you have two positions open and the third one didn't get triggered, and TP1 hits, you close both positions. You shouldn't have any other positions open at that point. But if you want, if you have two positions open, you can close one position here and then leave the other a second position at break even. The stop loss at break even. When I say break even, I mean move the stop loss to break even. So you can avoid the trade going into drawdown. Okay, perfect. And yeah, if you have more questions about it, let me know in the chat. We can chat there. What is the risk to reward ratio from entry to TP1? Is 1.7. Well, are you asking for this specific trade or in general? Because it's going to be different for each trade. So we can check this one. So this one is going to be 0.6. Oh well. 0.7 for TP2. It's going to be 1.57. Yeah, for general, it's going to be different. Not every trade is the same because we place a stop loss at certain points, which is different for each trade. So if we go into this one, for example, it's roughly 0.7. Yeah, so not all risk rewards are going to be the same. There was one the other day, I think it was GPP CAD. I mean, that one wasn't too great, I think. Let's see. Oh, so this one changed, but the stop loss before this, the stop loss was down here, so recalculated. So if you see a trade like this, I mean that's not the best case. Was it your CAD? Yeah, so trades like this, if it's written like okay, it's 0.7, it's still okay. But this one is repeated quite a bit as well. So it's not the best trade either. So just to give you guys a quick insight, the reason why we are having so many repeated trades is because the market has been in a range because of Corona for quite a while. There's so much uncertainty. That's why you see a lot of ranges. So you can see EuroCAD, for example, has been trading in this range, right? So you can see it's bouncing up and down um, since since March. So we had a range up here, now we have a range down here. And you can see a lot of the other pairs, they're doing the same thing. USD cat, same thing. We've got a range, but eventually these guys are going to break, right? So right now we have kind of this consolidation, and eventually price is going to break out either to the upside or to the downside, and then hopefully things are going to start trending a little more, and then we can take some nice trades. But right now you're going to get a lot of repeated trades, so just make sure you're not catching kind of the slow or the small range, because as we kind of go into this triangle, into this wedge, it's going to become smaller and smaller and smaller, and then eventually it's going to break out. Yeah, same with this. So this short, people have been shorting this for weeks now. But then sometimes you get stuff like this. So this would be a good level to take a short on because it's a fresh kind of a fresh level. You can see price broke through this level here, and now it's going to come back to retest it over here. Do you guys have any other questions for me? I think on the next one, what we're going to do is, just because there's a lot of repeated trades, oh sorry, repeated trades, repeated questions that I already answered quite a bit in the other webinars. Um, what we're going to do in the next one is we're going to focus on X mode. So if you want to learn more about X mode, make sure to jump on the webinar next week. What we're going to do in the next webinar is we're going to go through replay, so we can pick a pair, and then we can just kind of trade on replay mode. I'll kind of explain to you what I see on X mode, how I trade it, stuff like that. So if you want to learn that, then make sure to join next week. What you can do is you can save you can save this event in your calendar as a repeated event, so you don't miss these. Um, but yeah, and if for a lot of these questions, if you need more clarity on them, you guys should watch the webinar from last week because I kind of went into more in depth on these, and you can find that on YouTube if you want to learn more. And if you guys really want to take things to the next level, we just launched Dojo. So it's going to be like a group setting where we just take 5 people and then we go through everything with them. We make them take assignments, homework, send in their trades. It's going to be really really in depth on X mode. So if you guys want to go into that, the link is in the chat. We're almost booked up for this week, so if you still want to jump on for this week, there's a few spots left. Other than that, you're gonna have to wait till next week. Okay, any last questions? We got 5 minutes before we hop off. AOD CAD, let's have a look on the 1 hour. So let's actually go into 4 hours just because it's cleaner. Or maybe let's look at the daily. Maybe okay, maybe 4 hours is gonna be best. I don't really use trend lines anymore, but let's see. So sometimes what you can do is you can even do this if you want to see things a little clearer. So right now, it's hard to say. I would say it's more of a falling wedge. So we might see price kind of go through between these 2 lines and then break up. But I would just focus on levels. So let's see what the levels say. Yeah, so we hit extension 1. Now we're back into the resistance. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, so we're probably going to see another retrace back to neutral. If depending how this daily candle closes, if this daily candle closes strongly above resistance, which we can see, so its market is about to close in 2 minutes. We can see it's trying to push below this resistance. So if it keeps trading below this resistance and we get another 4-hour confirmation candle moving away from this level, then we're probably going to move down a bit. But yeah, I would kind of just play these levels. Right now they're pretty close to each other. So if the levels are too close to each other, like this, like this one, and this one, I would just stay away. That means that the market is consolidating. And if you look at the panel, you can see it says market is neutral. So if it's neutral, that means it's consolidating. If the levels are too close to each other, that means it's probably consolidating too. That means it's probably not a good time to take a trade, just because the range is too small and it's not really worth your risk or worth your time. So that's what I'm seeing. I don't, I actually used to use a lot of trend lines and stuff like that. You can see I actually didn't have it in here. I just had to add it back. But I used to use a lot of patterns and stuff like this, but I would say for the past 1 or 2 months, or for the past month, I'm just using these levels. Okay, any last questions? No other questions? Well, if there's no other questions, I'll wait 1 more minute, just in case someone is typing. Yeah, if you have any other questions, just type them into the chat, and then we can still discuss trading ideas and answer questions in the global chat or the inner circle, wherever you're at. Jonathan is asking, will the dojo be running into the foreseeable future? Yes, this is going to be something ongoing. No plans to cancel it. Um, yeah, so right now it's per week basis, and then we're going to open up spots as the calendar kind of opens up. This is going to be the first week, so we'll see how this first week goes, and then we're probably going to have some more spots open next week. But if you want a spot in dojo and there's spots open, then I would pick them, because like today they filled up pretty quick. But yeah, there's still some spots open for this week if you want to hop on. Barry, if you completed the assessment in week 2, message Dr. IQ. He's in the global chat. Give him a shout, and then he's gonna have a look. And then if it all checks out, he's gonna add you to the inner circle. Okay, awesome. If you guys have any questions, drop it into the global chat. And as always, I'll see you guys next week, Monday. And we might try out a different time in June. So if we do change the time and the day, I'm gonna let you guys know. Just so some of the people have, because some people in Asia, more in the East, I think this is not the best time for them. So we'll see if we try something else out. Okay, anyway, see you guys in the chat. Bye.